The Icons of Real Estate Podcast. Are you ready to learn the proven money-making secrets from top-producing Icon agents? Ready to skyrocket your business? This podcast is for you. Tune in every week with your host, Tomasz Fonseca, and find out how to implement proven strategies to 10 times your business, from $3 million to $30 million in just 12 months. Brought to you by the Masters in Real Estate Marketing, Arter SEO.
Welcome to another episode of the Icons of Real Estate podcast, where we highlight top professionals who are making waves in the industry. I'm your host, Karen Roberts, and today we're featuring Kacie Anderson, a dynamic agent with a background in mortgages and pest inspections. So she is now part of South Florida's top group in closed volumes. Kacie is known for her transparency, her client first approach, and mastery of both traditional and off-market deals. She has a global network and unmatched social media reach. She's really redefining success in real estate. So let's dive into her journey and her insights. Welcome to the show, Kacie.
Thank you, Karen. I appreciate you so much.
So first of all, would you like to share a little bit of your backstory as to, what inspired you to go into real estate in the beginning?
Yeah. So my dad owned a very successful pest control business up north. And essentially, I was always dealing with realtors with their wood destroying insect reports. Down here, it's called wood destroying organisms. And we would go back and forth with inspections and treatment and just making sure that the clients were taken care of before closing, or just preventing anything that could come up during their transaction. And so I first got exposure to realtors, when I was just in a senior in high school. So answering the dad, helping him out. And then after college, I did play Division I lacrosse, but I came back and kind of ran the family business with my dad with pest control. And as I was talking to realtors, they were telling me how much money they were making. And I'm like, wait, what? So you guys are making all this money. We're out here doing all this treatment in pest control world, and this is just crazy. Like, we're making $75. They're making $7,000. Like, this is wild. I could totally do this. And so all that to say, 5 years later, after me working for my dad, which I was so grateful for, I learned so much. I tried to dip my feet into real estate. And one of my friends, who's also a realtor, he goes to my church. He's like, Kacie, you should get into real estate. I was like, I think I should, but I think I want a background like in mortgages. So I worked with the mortgage company first, learned so much, and from a top team as well. And during that time, I was like, again, looking at all these things with different realtors and situations that would pop up on a deal. And I was like, gosh, like, I love mortgages. I love being able to understand now, beyond most realtors understand mortgages. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to get my real estate license and I'm going to just dive in. So I did. And I am so glad that I did, because in the mortgage world, I had realtors that I was talking to day in and day out, and every single one of them were like, Kacie, you should leave mortgages. You should get into real estate. You'd be better on this side. They're like taking me to the dark side, and I ran. So that's kind of the background of how I jumped into real estate. And so I've been licensed now for just over 2 years. August 29th marked 2 years of me having my license. And during that time, I've been blessed to build one of the largest real estate teams here in South Florida. And I have an incredible network, and I'm so grateful.
Fantastic. I mean, a background in mortgage and pest inspections, I mean, that's completely different experience. And how do you think that's enhanced the service that you provide to your real estate clients?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a dominant listing agent. I do love working with buyers as well, but from my perspective, I'm able to lay a foundation up front, and as like you said, transparency and just a successful game plan of like, hey, if there's termites, if there is any type of pests that are going on with the house, I can kind of tell my clients up front, like, hey, we should address this now before it comes up on an inspection. Make sure that the buyer is purchasing a good home, solid home with no issues, no infestations. And then beyond that, as a listing agent, I can vet every single buyer that brings me an offer, especially if they're financing. Because as you know, especially in this day and age with insurance issues, flooding, all the catastrophic things that we experience here in South Florida, I'm able to look at it from a bigger approach on the mortgage side of saying, is this loan going to go through? Because we're set up for success on the insurance part, windows, roof, anything, pipes, electrical, and will that loan go through? And then beyond that, that's how I can set my clients up where I can say, hey, I think this buyer is strong, or hey, I'm going to ask for what's called a DU from the lender to make sure that this loan is healthy before we sign this contract, because I don't want to wrap the property up unless I know that this loan is going to close. So, so much that I've learned that I've been able to use to protect my clients. So,
yeah, well, it's all come in handy now. So, and you emphasize their transparency, and it's about prioritizing your client's happiness in a way. So it sounds like you're really ensuring that your clients feel heard and they're feeling supported throughout the whole buying or selling process, as you're doing you're primarily dealing with sellers, but you're doing both, right?
yeah, I'm doing both. And then even from the buyer side, when we are presenting to listing agents, my superpower is, hey, like, I know what it's like to be a dominant listing agent and to have multiple offers. And sometimes the offer you pick might not be the highest, but it might be the most promising. And so I'm able to dive deeply with my buyer, figure out how we set them up for success first and protect them. And then the way I present my buyer's offer to a listing agent, I put my listing agent hat on and say, okay, what would I like as a listing agent of how to be, presented this offer, even if I know it might not be the strongest offer, but I know it's the most promising. So
Brilliant.
It's very helpful.
Brilliant. Covering all areas. So you've also mastered both traditional real estate and off-market deals. So what advice would you give to someone who is looking to navigate the off-market landscape successfully?
Sure. So when I first kind of got into EXP, Dan Lesniak and Carrie Shull took me under their wing, and I did all their coaching. And Dan and I would get on these cold calls on Zoom, and I would watch him how he would circle prospect, cold call buyers, that are not expired, not canceled, just straight up, off market. And I learned the technique from them where you have to go out and call, show them a number, show them that you're real and that you have an offer to provide, and that you're not just looking just to get the listing and just to put it on the MLS for fame. Hey, I really have a buyer. Okay, here's the offer. If these boxes, check for you, let's have a conversation. And then beyond that, if I attempt to make a call and they don't answer, I'll go knock on their door. I leave a package. Oh man, I want to show you this package. I don't have one in here. It's out there. But I have a package that is basically, it showcases what we do during the transaction to make the seller on this off-market deal feel at peace and not scammed. And then also showing them just everything transparently, like their pre-approval, proof of funds, a DU, and just saying this is literally what the offer is going to be. There is no games. We're here for you. We want to get it done, and we don't need to list it. We don't need a sign in the yard. We just want to get our buyer home. And so just saying it point blank, I don't need your listing on the MLS. This is not me badgering you, which I feel like a lot of agents, we get a bad rap because a lot of us bombard people in off market trying to get them to list rather than actually bringing a buyer. And you can put and shift the perspective from beyond yourself as an agent, beyond your commission, but looking at, is this a good fit for my buyer? Will this bless the seller? Let's make a deal. Cool. When you have that mindset, it tends to happen more for you rather than just pushing them to list their property, because, you don't have to do that. The fame of putting on the MLS and having your sign in the ground, yes, that's amazing. we love that for advertisement as realtors. But at the end of the day, if it's best for your buyer and best for your seller, and the off-market seller has a realtor that's a sister and he doesn't want to offend him or her or whatever, you're making it very calm for them and not too pushy for the client. So
Well, what I'm hearing again is all about you being upfront, you're being transparent. This is going to help on the know, like, and trust factor. So you're looking more long term, whereas yes, I think many have a bad reputation because they're so short-sighted. So for you, Kacie, your social media presence and global network are key to your success. So what strategies have you found that have been most effective in expanding your reach and closing deals?
yeah, well, thank you. I feel like I'm just like a tiny little speck on the radar with social. There's so many amazing people and platforms out there that I'm, always inspired by. But my brand started building faster when I stopped trying so hard to make it perfect. And when I just literally have my phone in front of my face, talk in the car, again, the transparency, the authenticity, walking through an inspection, showing them just the real, like what it's actually like being a realtor. Because you and I know the glamour, the selling Sunset, the selling Beverly Hills, all of that is amazing and so much fun, but it's not at all what our job is. And when you can actually, get on that level with most agents, they're going to relate to you because they're like, yeah, that's real. Like, yes, this is real problems that we go through and real things that we're advocating for. And when you can do that, your social media will have so much engagement because not only realtors are contacting me, loving our team, wanting to join our group and our network, and we have agents nationwide, not just Florida. And when you can connect on that level with agents all across the globe, it's really special because, they can relate. They can feel the
Mm,
same that you're going through and you're posting. So for me, the biggest thing is like, be raw, right? Show the not so fun part of your job and then how you pivot and what your solution is to it. So the more solution
perfect.
provide, the more better your social media is going to be.
Totally. So I know you're recruiting agents with EXP, but how has production been like? What's it been like in the last year for you, Kacie?
Yeah, it's been good. I'm at 50 million so far. And again, this is a little over 2 years. Um,
Wow.
to be honest, I really don't recruit, which sounds weird. EXP, you should recruit more. I've been blessed where, again, we provide value out on our social. We do trainings twice a week in my office, and those trainings are not only held in person, but also on Zoom for all of our other agents. And word gets out because we're helping. And so those agents just come, you know? And so we've been blessed because we don't really have to go out and recruit everybody that has a pulse and a real estate license because I think cringe. But we've just been posting value and helping and people come. And it's been really fun for me as a coach. As I said, I played Division I lacrosse. I coached lacrosse for 7 years here. Played at the highest level. And for me, it's so special because I miss my athletic career and I miss that coaching time. And I've been able to kind of transform it into my real estate business, which has been
Brilliant.
so rewarding.
Well, there you go. So what's next for Kacie? What are your goals for next year?
Yeah, next year, I would like to expand more. I feel like we just have so much of a bigger calling for not just me, but for my company and all the amazing agents in our group. So next year, I honestly, I want to expand. We are working on something special for agents because all of my leads are not paid for. They all come organically from our open houses, our mailers, and our door knocking. And so many people have asked me for that recipe, so to say. So I am working diligently right now. You're the first person I'm saying this publicly to on a workbook to help agents, both new and seasoned, try something before they give up. Because a lot of agents are giving up. They're getting out of the business. They're discouraged. a lot of people have expectations that it's easy and it's not. So my goal is essentially to create like a real estate Bible, like guide of like, hey, do these things before you give up. Because if you do these things and you stay consistent and you check them off day after day, you know, and you show up for yourself, you're not going to want to quit. And so again, coaching mindset plus the recipe to success of what we've been experiencing basically in a book. So that's my next goal for this year.
Excellent and fantastic insights there. Thank you so much, Kacie. So our last question is always the same, because here at Icons, we're not just a podcast, we're the #1 real estate podcast network. So if you had your own podcast, Kacie, what would you call it?
I feel like I would call it, gosh, everybody has like the real and real deal and all that good stuff. I feel like I would, I don't know. I feel like the truth about real estate, or I don't know, something just about the honesty of it. So if I were to
But
name
going back to, there's been a common theme on this episode about transparency. So I'm getting something along those lines, which is great and which is what you're all about. So look, so if there's any agents that would like to join your team, or if there's anybody looking to buy or sell in South Florida, how can they reach you, Kacie?
Yeah, so I'm pretty easy to reach. You can text me or call me. My phone number is 443-340-2200, or you can go to my website, which is www.thecoastalrealm.com, or Instagram. I don't have any social media managers. I manage all of my own stuff and I answer my own phone. So you're gonna get me, nobody else. So
Brilliant. And all her details will be in the show notes, so look out for that. Kacie, thank you so much for your time today. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and to the listeners, I'll be back next time with the Icons of Real Estate podcast. Bye for now.